guys have any questions on stuff we did last week? Or is everybody good so far? All right, I'll take that everybody's good, huh? I know, I heard. All right, so let's do this. What we're going to do, I'm just going to shift rooms for 1 second. Okay. Just bear with me. A little bit quieter. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend what we did a little bit last week and focus on a couple of new little things as we build out our database. Where's MySQL? Where's MySQL? Okay. Hold on 1 second while I turn off all of this stuff. Close this. Close that. SQL. Zoom. Share. Okay. We're going to focus on 3 things. We're going to focus on the in statement. We're going to focus on the between statement, which I like to use more for dates than anything else, and some longer subqueries to explain what's happening when we do these queries. So let's go back to our employees table. Here we basically have a bunch of employees with gender and hire dates, and we've pulled some other information that we did last week with regards to joins. Now, one of the things that we might want to do is we might want to figure out which employees belong in a certain subset, okay? Now, we did this a couple weeks ago. We said something like where gender is equal to male. So I could do something like this, and then I will get my list of people where gender is male. Now, what happens, though, if we end up with a series of a column that has multiple items, not just male or female? So, for example, if we take a look at, I think it was salaries. Did this earlier today, so I'm going to remember which ones we're doing. There we go. All right. So what we might want to do is I might want to basically select my employee number from employee salaries, where salary, now there's multiple ways that you can do this, but we could say where salary is greater than or equal to 60,000 and salary is less than 70,000. So this would be one thing that we could do. I'm going to put on a limit so I don't run into taking too long. And there's all the employees that have had a salary of greater than 60,000 or less than 70,000. In this case, I could do less than or equal to. Now, alternatively, I could use salary between 60,000 and 70,000. I run this query, and I will basically get the same results. Now, let's just take a look at something really quick. I'm going to not limit this. I'm going to run this query again between 60,000 and 70,000. Okay. I actually want to display the salaries so that you can see them. I've got, and run. According to this, I've got 588,000, right? Now, if I were to run this again, I'm actually going to do 60,000, because this is a common question, 117, because we see that there. I'm going to run this. Okay. What do you notice?
The bound is not included.
Correct. And that's basically one of the differences. You're going to run into issues with the betweens, especially when they're used for dates. Now, one of the things that we can do with this, I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to pull the from date and to date just so that we can see them. Bring up the whole data set, which will take a little bit of time. It's 2.8 million rows. Now, where these are kind of widely used, is in dates, where from date (1986), 0626, and everything for that particular year. Should take care of it. Now, when I run this, now you notice that 1986 is there.
Yeah.
The reason is because with dates, right, the date is always the beginning of the day. So it's inclusive when you're dealing with dates. It's not inclusive when you're dealing with numbers. I cannot stand the between clause. Okay? I use it because I use it on dates because it's more clear for me than I would use it with the other one. I would almost always do this because it's very clear to me. However, the reason it's more clear to me is because I'm a programmer and I prefer that type of notation. I know a lot of DBAs and a lot of SQL programmers who prefer the between statement. Now, the only other thing I'm going to say is I do not know if the implementation is the same on every database. In other words, you were talking earlier about Maria and MariaDB. We talked about a little bit of Oracle and SQL Server. I can't tell you that it's the same. I would have to look up the documentation to make sure. I never assume that the functionality is exactly the same. I will assume that the functionality is nearly the same, but not exactly the same. And SQL Server has provided me more, stomach problems than any other database. And that's where you end up with this whole notion of similar, but maybe not exact. Okay?
A question here.
Yep.
So if the dates, instead of this year, month, day format, if they were in seconds since Unix timestamp 1st Jan 1970, I have some time series data which is in that format. If I use the between clause, would it still work like the date? It's a date, but it is in the Unix timestamp format.
Again, if the field is an integer,
yeah,
then it should work the way the salary worked above.
Right.
Okay. Because again, just because it's a Unix timestamp means nothing to me as long as it's either an integer or a date. That's it.
Okay, understood. Okay.
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 All right. So is that clear for everybody about the between clause? Cool. All right. Now let's take a look at another one here. Now here I have this department number, department name that we talked about last time, and I wanted to do a join. Right, so if I were to do, let's get my employees again. Here we go. I gotta limit this so I can run this. Now remember what we had done was we said, okay, we've got our employees and this department employee actually is our left to join. So I might do left join, dept emp, we'll call it DE. I'll call this E. So we're gonna do E.emp number, comma, E.first name, comma, E.last name, comma, E.gender, comma, E.hire date, because I want to do all of them. I don't care about their date. So I left join on the department emp. So this really should be as DE on. Now we're going to do DE.empNo is equal to E.empNo. And if I did this correctly, I should be able to do my DE depth no just to see what it is. So we'll run this, limit to 500 rows. No database selected. Why is no database selected? Let's do this because I want to join. Set as default schema. Run this. Oh, because I didn't do this. I'd rather do that to make it clear. So there's my depth no. Now, what I might want to do is if I say I only want department numbers 3, 4, 5, you could do where depth no is equal to D004 or depth no is equal to D003 or depth no is equal to D00. All right. So I could do something like that. I could run this, and hopefully with any luck, I only get 3s, 4s, and 9s. Fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to left join this with the departments only because I want to see what these things look like because I want to use some English. I don't like codes. As D on DE dot depth no equal to D dot depth no, and then tell me what my department is. D dot, I think it's called department, right? It's called depth name. Depth name, right? So if I do this well, I should get my name, and it should only be the 4s, the 5s, the 6. Employees dot department does not. Let me see. Would I spell something wrong? Yes, I did.
I think employees.department should be e.departments or something like that, right?
No, E doesn't have department. Only the DE does. I was missing an S.
Okay.
Because I left off the last S for savings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a joke that you really got to watch TV for. Chris, I'm disappointed.
I'm here. I'm just not laughing, but I get it.
Okay, fine, whatever. Column depth no in the where clause is ambiguous, so I need to be specific as to which one I'm doing this on. So I'm going to do this on, let's say DE. Here, because depth no belongs in 2 fields, the department employee and the departments table, I didn't tell it which one, so it's called ambiguous. So you'll see this error where it says the department number in the where clause is ambiguous. It means that I have that field in 2 different tables. You got to tell me which one you want me to look at. So I'll run this. All well and good, and now I've got my department name, which is fantastic. The thing is, this is a little bit tedious. So now I end up with a situation where, all right, well, I've got to put all of them with an or clause. Well, no, you don't. Because what we can do is we can substitute this with where de.depthNo in, and now I can do D004, comma, D003, comma, D009. The in clause is basically looking at this because this is a set, and that's what I want. So now when I run this, I should get pretty much the same set of rows. I limited it at 500, but there you go. You can see it's the 4s, the 3s, and the 9s. Does that make sense? Any questions?
When I run it the 2 different ways, I get a different result in the number of rows returned.
So let me try it this way. I'll run all 50,000. No limit. You should.
I got 91,000 the first time and 114 the second.
Okay, so let me take a look. So here I've got 114, right? And now what you're saying is if I do this, I should get something different?
Yeah, I got 91,000 when I did this one.
Oh, I think it's...
I got the same number.
No.
What am I doing wrong? Let me, can I share a screen?
Yep. Go ahead.
I'm doing it. Just a sec. I think, yeah. So when I ran it the first time, I got 91,270. This.
Is that an equal sign over there by the depth node D009?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, this is what I did wrong. Yeah.
But shouldn't that have thrown some error because it's depno minus a string, which makes no sense at all.
My guess, well, I want him to run it again because it was commented out, so I can't be sure that that's the case.
Okay.
So yeah, if I do it this way, but now let me try it this way.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, it takes them out.
But how's
Don't be me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that minus actually means on.
yeah, that makes no sense at all.
Well, it might be some sort of concatenation or something else. I'm not really sure
Okay.
because I've never seen that before.
Chris, you're innovating.
In all the wrong ways.
No, but it's good. I never knew this. I thought it would for sure yield a syntax error of some kind.
Yeah.
Well, the more you know.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to here. Any other questions on this?
It's sometimes hard to keep up while noticing the typos that I'm making.
I understand that. All right. Now, unfortunately, let's see. This doesn't have a tremendous amount of options here. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to rename one of these. We're going to call this, let's see. Okay. I'm going to call this marketing research. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do. The key concept here is that this inner block here is a set. Every query returns a set of data. So it is actually possible for me to do a couple of different things. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one where clause where I say where d dot depth name like, this is, I think we did the like command, percent marketing percent. This is basically going to look at the department names that are retrieved and filter out anything that has marketing. The percents are the wildcards. So it means anywhere where marketing is in the field, I want you to select it. So when I do that, I get everything dealing with marketing and marketing research. Now, if you had not done the percents and you say like marketing, it's only going to give you marketing itself. Okay, so it's almost as though it's an equivalence because that's what you're looking for. If I do the percent at the end, it will be marketing at the beginning of the string and anything else after, and thus it will return marketing research. Okay? Everybody follow?
Cool.
Any questions? Okay.
You're still doing the quotation on the outside of the thing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now, here's the other interesting thing. So I said, yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a question. How do you escape a quote if somebody decided to use a quote inside the data itself?
Oh. Okay. So the problem with the quotes, so what he's talking about is this. Let's see, can I edit this? No, I'm going to edit the departments. So let's say some bozo decides to do that. I'm going to go back in here. This would be a problem. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you can replace and alternate your quotes, your double quotes, with your single quotes. You can do that in almost every programming language. However, I believe we should be able to do this. if you put a backslash in front of the apostrophe, it becomes a special character. And it should run it, which it does. So
Awesome.
that's how you can use a quote within a field, or you can use other special characters. Other special characters include the \n, which is a new line, \t, which is a tab. These are actual characters that could be in your text. Let's say you were looking at a newspaper article that's plugged into your table. You want your actual article. Well, technically, you might have carriage returns. You might have the new line character. You might even have tabs. Well, technically, I could search for those as well. Ideally, you've dealt with them a little bit differently, but this is what's called an escape sequence, or you're basically using it as a special character. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because I'm not a bozo, I'm not going to do that. Let me figure this out. Oops. Didn't do anything. Close. Back to employees. Okay, now, let's say I do this. Select dept name where dept number is 8 and 1. Where dept no in, and I do D0008, comma D0001. Now this should return all the department names that are in the, let's see, what was I doing here? Okay, I had too many zeros in here. Okay, let me run this. And you'll see here, okay, I just got to put you guys on mute for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Cool.
All right, I'm back. So dept name where dept no in, now this should be right. Am I missing something here? A table. And no one picked that up. Wow. I wasn't paying attention.
I'll be honest, I was trying to figure out why it wasn't working.
Okay, so now you see how this returns a result set here of marketing name and market research? Well, remember I said that the where clause, when we did the in, it actually returns a set. I can actually create a subquery that looks like this. So now this inner subquery basically returns a department name based on some condition. And what I want is I want to get the department names that come from that condition and get the rest of my information. And you'll see here that it has now given me marketing research and marketing. So this is basically known as a subquery. Okay, does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. So now, if I wanted to, I could say, okay, and I'm kind of making up some stuff as we go along. I need to give you some other things. What if I wanted to do a more complex subquery? Well, I could do that. I could say, you know what, I don't want to do this. I'm going to do something like gender. I said, well, that doesn't make much sense because I could do, you know, whichever gender is male or female. But what if I want to do select gender where if I do a more complex one, right? That says, well, actually, I'm going to build this out first here. If you do select gender from employees, this, just going to run this. You get a whole bunch of genders, male, female, right? But remember I said I would really like to sometimes do things like this. I want to count each gender and do it group by. So I group by 1. I now have male and female, count numbers, right? So now, what if I want to determine which one is, let's say, greater, if you will, right? I don't remember how to do this myself here. Group 1. It's this. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this. This is what I want to do. So this is your items here. And now, what if I want to take the maximum employees, whichever one is greater? Anybody have an idea what I could do here? First of all, does everybody understand what I'm doing in this query here?
Yep.
Does
Yes.
everybody other than Vahan understand what I'm doing here?
You're aggregating all of the genders into 2 groups, right?
Right. So now, go ahead. Who's going to speak?
It's me. You're counting. You're looking at gender and you're asking for a count to be returned.
Right. Now, what if I were to do this? What would this do?
It would put the female number 120051 above the male number 179973.
Correct. So this gives you this, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what if I do this?
It's only going to show you the top value, right?
The first row, FN 120051.
Correct. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is what I mean about different subqueries. Okay. What if, now I can't use this directly in here because I'm trying to match gender to this subquery. This is one field, but how many fields is this returning?
2.
It's returning 2. Does everybody follow that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I need to return 1. What I can do is this by itself is a, this by itself is a data set. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Just like a table is a data set. I can treat this as a table, and I can do select gender from, I'm indenting only to make it clear.
Right. Or you love Python too much.
No, I can't stand Python. Okay. This is going to only get me the gender from this inner query. Does everybody follow that?
Yep.
The only thing I need to do is when you use what's called a temporary table like this is creating a temporary table. Okay. You're going to need to basically alias it. So I'm going to alias it as B, and now I can do this. When I run this, what does it return?
F.
Only female. So what happens is this now becomes a set that I could technically use like this. Again, I'm just indenting so that it'll be a little bit clear. This should then only get me the people.
Need the N, right?
This is returning an error.
Don't you need the N?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
I should have been able to use it without the in, but this is messing me up for some reason.
But the return type is, this return structure is still a table, right? Not a discrete value, correct?
There we go. Hold on. I'm sorry. Say that again.
The return type is a table structure, right? It's not a discrete value.
It's a data set, correct? So it technically is it can be multiple, but it can be one. But it is a set. A set of one is the same thing. And
Right.
here's all the females.
Right.
Okay. Now, the way I would read this query is very simple. Give me all the employee numbers, the first name, last name, the gender, the hire date, department number, and department name from the employees. Get me, obviously, the departments that they belong to, where the gender is equivalent to the smallest number of gender in my company. So if I have less females, I want the list of all the females. Does that make sense?
Yep.
This isn't necessarily the best query example to do, but it's showing you how you can do two things. Number one is take a data set and use that data set as a subquery for selecting the fields that you want. Next week, I'll go over case statements, which will do a lot of this other stuff that is very useful. Just want to see something because this should work.
Because this assumes a priori that only one value will be returned.
Well, technically, only one value will be returned, but the problem is that in this case, it wants in.
Okay.
I believe in SQL Server, it works with the equals. I'm not certain of it, but again, these are implementation pieces.
Cool.
Okay, does everybody follow this? Chris?
Yeah, sorry, my dog was barking. Yeah, I'm having trouble just getting the typos to work right now, but I'm keeping up intellectually, I think.
All right,
for
good.
everyone.
Really? You good with this?
Yep. So far, so good.
Okay. So let's see. Anybody else want to chime in? Vanessa, Modi, Wen, Jean?
No, I'm fine. I got it.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Excellent. All right. So these are some of the things that, and we do this on a regular basis, where we create very large queries. We'll have queries that may span 50 to 150 lines to actually do some of this stuff. And this is where you start pulling in multiple sets of information to actually get this stuff to work. These subqueries can get a little bit crazy, but they are, and they are what you ultimately really need to do. Okay.
Cool.
All right. All right. So here's what I'd like you to try and do is I'd like you to write one of the queries where you're using a subquery here, but I want you to do it where you find the least number of salary changes in a year. Get all the employee salaries within a particular year where you're getting the least number of salary changes for the entire company in a given year.
Can you just repeat the question once again?
Yep. You want to basically get all employee salaries in a given year where the year had the fewest salary changes, period, over time. Okay? So first you need to find the year that had the fewest salary changes. Then you need to use that information to determine and to find the salary changes for the employees in that given year. Now, one thing that you'll probably need is this. And I'll show you this here as well. The date fields can be broken down into different values. So, for example, this hire date, right? If I want only the year of the hire date, I could do this. And this, and you will see at the end, it gives me the year for the hire date. I have a number of other fields called like month, hire date, comma, day, e dot hire date, week, e dot hire date. You have weekday, I believe, or day of week. Let's see, day of week, e dot hire date. That should work. Okay, and I run this. Should give me what I need, and then you can see that it's giving you all the sets of numbers: the year, the month, the day, the week, the day of week. When you're doing any type of data science, you want to try and make sure that whenever you're given a date field, you break it up into appropriate fields like year, quarter, month, day, week, day of week, day of month, because you may find patterns in any type of analytics that you're doing with that. So given this set of information and these functions for a date, you want to try and get all the employees in a given year where the year had the fewest salary changes over time. Okay, so first you find obviously the salary, the year with the fewest salary changes. Then you use that as a subquery into the other, into your other query. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you do that query, and then let me see, what's tomorrow? Tuesday night. If you want to jump on tomorrow night and show me what you did, I should be available around the same time.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, I will need the time.
Huh?
I said I'm going to need the time.
Yeah, I figured as much. But this is what I need you to do. I need you to play around with it so that you can figure, what works and what doesn't work. But make sure that you break up the query into smaller pieces. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right?
Just one question.
Mhm.
So I know you've given, the breakup of the date field into day, month, and year. But if you want to consider a given year, we'll have to look at the entire thing from 1st of January, beginning of year, to 31st December, end of year, correct?
Say that one more time. I couldn't hear you.
So when you say given year, we
Mhm.
will have to split up the year starting from Jan 1st, say 1991, to 31st December 1991. That range will be 1 year, correct?
That's correct.
And that will be used to basically split up the data accordingly.
Correct.
Okay, this is going to be a lot more complicated than I thought. Okay.
It shouldn't be that complicated. Okay? It shouldn't be like super complicated. Like it shouldn't be any more complicated than what I've drawn here.
Okay.
Because if you're looking for the fewest salary changes, right, you're looking for the count of the number of salary records in a given year, right? Because technically, the salary changes are all the records for salaries in a given year,
Mhm.
okay? And here, I'm looking for the count of gender altogether, right?
Right.
So if you change this query for that latter part, you'll be able to then use that to get some of the other pieces. But it shouldn't be more complicated than this query that you see here.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good? Does anybody have any other questions? We'll let this go until tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Will that work?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So tomorrow you'll be online around the same
At
time,
the same time, yeah.
10 p.m. Okay.
Yep. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but it
Cool.
should definitely be fine.
Awesome.
What we'll do is we'll just cover this query and then answer any other questions for it. Just like we did the last time, I think it's Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Sounds good. Oh, it's all that.
All right, any other questions? We good? Chris, you good?
I'm good for now.
Gabrielle, you good?
All good.
Vanessa?
I'm good.
Modi?
Yeah, I'm good.
Wen?
I'm good, thank you.
Jin?
I would definitely need some practice though.
Okay. So take the practice and then again, tomorrow, if we need to, just bring up some questions so that I can help you get through all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Okay.
And you'll upload the video by tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It should be up tonight, actually.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.